Hello Begbrook and welcome to the final episode of Willcox's Wacky Experiments. For the final episode, I am joined by my two favourite lab assistants. I have got Athena on the table and I've got Ragnar on the chair. As always in our episodes, we have a mini experiment and a main experiment. Like I said before, the mini experiment doesn't need a lot of resources. The main experiment might need a few more, but it's going to be really exciting. Before we do any of these exciting experiments, we need to quickly recap the boring but crucial safety points from the last episode. So remember, our safety point number 1 is to always ask permission from any adult at home. Rule number 2 is to make sure that you have lots of space to do your experiments because you don't want anything going wrong. And number 3, making sure that you follow the instructions in these videos step by step. Okay, for our mini experiment today, it is called Watch an Egg Take a High Dive. And if you get the experiment right, it is a spectacular one. If you get it wrong, it is a spectacular mess. Today, you are going to need a toilet roll. You are going to need an egg, the messy part. You're going to need scissors. You're going to need a glass, which will be 3/4 full with water. And you are going to need a cereal box. So step number 1 is to fill your glass up 3/4 full with water. Step number 2 is we are going to cut out a large rectangle from our cereal box. So we're going to need our scissors as well. So we're going to cut down the folded edges. Try to be as neat as you can along those lines. If it's not really neat, then not to worry. But just try your best. Okay, so I'm nearly there, cutting out my rectangle from my cereal box. Okay, I'm just going to cut off the flap because we don't want anything interfering with the experiment. Okay, so now I have got a large rectangle shaped piece of cardboard. Okay, so step number 3 is to place your large rectangle on top of the glass with 3/4 full with water. And then you are going to place the toilet roll on top of the cardboard. Okay, step number 4 is to make sure that that toilet roll is central to the glass, and then you are going to place your egg on the toilet roll like this. So what I would suggest you guys do first, you can do this experiment with either a tennis ball, a lemon, or a lime. So maybe you want to practice this experiment with that first before trying the egg, but I'm going to go for the challenge. So step number 5, it's now time to test our experiment. What we're going to do is we're going to hold on to the card, we're going to take a big, deep breath, and you might want to close your eyes for the first time because you don't want to, it might make a mess. So what should happen is when you pull the card, the toilet roll should go with it, but the egg will not go across the table. It should drop straight down into the cup. Okay, time to experiment. Hold on to the card, close your eyes, take a big deep breath, and oh, there we have it. The egg drops straight down into the glass. And there we have it. That is the end of our mini experiment. And if you haven't caused enough mayhem, you might want to try a larger, flatter section instead of the cardboard. You might want to use some plastic. You might even want to use a placemat. Or you might want to see if you can get some more glasses, some more tubes, and more eggs, and do a multiple high dive. Test it out. Go for it, guys. What is the science? There is a force acting on the egg, or the stunt egg, called inertia. This is a force that resists movement, and the greater the mass of the object, the higher the inertia. The tubes have a lower mass, so have lower inertia, which means they move to the side when you hit the card. but the high inertia of the egg means it will resist the sideways movement and drop into the glass below instead. It is now time for the main experiment, and today we are going to be creating bubble snakes. So science can explain a lot of things, but it cannot explain how many odd socks there are in the world. Today you are going to need to hunt around your house for an odd sock. For our final main experiment of Willcox's Wacky experiments, you are going to need an elastic band. You are going to need an empty plastic bottle. You are going to need an odd sock. Seriously, where do they go? You're going to need some washing up liquid. You're going to need some scissors, and you're going to need a very shallow dish, which you are going to fill with water. Step number 1, we are going to need to cut off the base of the bottle. Okay, before you do this, make sure you take the lid off because it makes it a bit squidgier so that you can cut through the plastic. You might want to get an adult to do this if you have got a tough bottle like mine. That's where I've got my big adult scissors. So we're really going to cut through the plastic as much as we can. Ooh, slowly getting there. Might need a few. There we go. It's going to need a few. There we go. I have now cut off the base of the bottle, so I am left with a large opening. Step number 2, you are going to place your clean sock, not a stinky one. I'm sure your bubble snake is not going to want your stinky, cheesy feet smell all over it. It's going to want a nice, clean, fresh sock. Okay, so we're going to roll it up and we're going to place it over the end of the bottle, like so. Just like this. So it's nice and flat over the end. Step number 3 is just to make sure that the sock is on nice and tight, and you're going to secure it with your elastic band so it doesn't go anywhere. You might want to do it around twice if you have got quite a loose elastic band. Step 5 is to fill up your container, your shallow container, with some water. Don't fill it up all the way to the top, just only fill it up a little bit, maybe 1/3 of the way or 1/4 of the way. And then you're going to get your washing up liquid, and you want to put a healthy amount of liquid in there to really get those bubbles going. And then what I would do is give it just a mix with your finger, just so that the washing up liquid is definitely mixed with the water. Just go all the way around the edges, make sure it's fully mixed together. And then, as a little extra challenge, if you want to, I'm going to use some food colouring to make my bubble snake blow blue bubbles. You might want green ones, you might want yellow ones, you might want red ones. Okay, I'm just going to put in a little bit, maybe 3 drops. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I've put in 3 drops of blue food colouring. Again, I'm going to give it a mix with my finger just to make sure that all that blue food colouring is mixed in everywhere. Now it is time for the final step, step number 6. We have got our bubble solution, we have got our bubble snake, and now we're going to dip the end into the solution, give it a bit of a mix round, and then watch the science happen. We are going to blow in our other end of the bottle, and hopefully we should see and create some bubble snakes. Oh, I think I need to stir my mixture a bit more, make it a little wetter. Okay, let's try again. Stop. If you find that your bubble snakes are not very long, maybe you want to put some more washing up liquid inside of the water solution so that you can have a nice long trail of a bubble snake. I'm going to try once more. Oh, I've got a bit of a bigger one there. Now that we have tested our bubble snakes, your challenge now is to see how long you can make your bubble snake without it disappearing. Or you might want to try and create a rainbow bubble snake with lots of different colours. I want to see...
What is the science? When you blow air into the bottle, it forces the bubble mixture through all the tiny holes in the sock, making little bubbles. Bubbles like to minimise their surface area, so they join together to share common walls, making a huge snake.
And there we have it. That's the end of our main experiment and the end of Willcox's wacky experiments. I hope you've had fun exploring science with me. I know I've had so much fun. Hope to see you soon. Bye.